Welcome and welcome back. I'm B, and today I'm discussing the substance. First, I'm going to briefly go over the synopsis and then I'll dive into the review. The substance follows Elizabeth Sparkle, played by Demi Moore, who is a renowned aerobics instructor and actor. On her 50th birthday, she's fired because her boss wants to move in a new direction with a younger woman. Elizabeth is devastated and becomes obsessed with halting the aging process and maintaining her beauty. After taking a black market drug, she begins to transform into an unsettling and grotesque version of herself, creating a new persona, Sue. As her physical appearance deteriorates, Elizabeth's internal struggles intensifies, resulting in disturbing body horror and a chaotic fight for control over her identity. I enjoyed this movie and I didn't feel the runtime at all. I believe it was 2 hours and 20 minutes, but I didn't even notice that. It kept me engaged the entire time, which has been a rare thing lately with horror. The body horror is intense and the practical effects are absolutely great. It's visually a really creative and artistic film. That said, it is not subtle in the slightest. It really hits you over the head with its themes, and I do wish that there was more of a backstory on Elizabeth, especially with what led her to the extreme step of taking a black market drug. I think a little bit more buildup there would have added some depth to her story. The opening shot of the Hollywood star fading away is a powerful visual metaphor for the central theme of the film: society's obsession with beauty and youth. The star's decay symbolizes how fleeting fame and physical appearance can be, especially in a world that values them above all. It sets the tone for the movie, which explores the lens people will go to in order to preserve their image and defy aging, showing the inevitable decline and desperation that comes with the pressure to maintain perfection. When casting Demi Moore as Elizabeth Sparkle, the filmmakers made a deliberate choice that aligns perfectly with the film's message. Demi is an iconic figure known for her beauty and fitness by society's standards, especially white beauty standards. She's still remarkably beautiful and fit for her age, but that's exactly the point. In our culture, it's like there's this silent understanding that no matter how stunning or fit a woman is, it's still not enough. There's always this ideal to chase. The substance dives right into this toxic mindset. Elizabeth is beautiful, successful, and influential, but she's also struggling with this constant pressure to look younger, to be more perfect. It's a reality that echoes the experience of so many women who feel like they need to go to extreme lengths just to maintain an appearance that society deems acceptable. Demi's casting really underlines that theme because, in a way, she represents a type of beauty that's already highly praised. Yet, through Elizabeth's character, the film exposes that even the most celebrated faces can feel deeply insecure and feel like they're falling short in some way. It's a sad reflection of how our culture weaponizes standards, driving people to do whatever it takes to preserve their looks. It makes you think about the dangerous lens society pushes us towards in this endless pursuit of youth and perfection. So, this story is obviously tackling issues of aging and society's expectations of women, especially how much appearances impacts how we are valued and treated. But it goes even deeper. There's this layer of self hatred that's at the heart of Elizabeth's actions. Every time she pushes her limits by stealing extra time in her younger form or indulging in binge eating, it's like she's punishing herself. It's all fueled by how much society has conditioned her to dislike herself, pushing her towards self destructive choices in a twisted cycle. Now, let's talk about the visual style in the substance, especially those close ups of Dennis Quaid. I wasn't really a fan of all the gross in your face food shots. It was definitely uncomfortable to watch, but that discomfort was intentional. I don't usually like close-ups of people eating. It's something that always gets under my skin and it makes my skin crawl seeing that. But in this case it worked. These moments were deliberately crafted to make us feel repulsed, to turn our stomachs a bit, and it was incredibly effective. Dennis Quaid's character, Harvey, is already exaggerated as a kind of monstrous, greedy person, and those close ups intensify that feeling, adding to this sleazy, unrestrained personality. The shots make him feel even more revolting than the actual body horror elements in the film. To me, his character was way more disgusting than even the creature Elizabeth Sue turned into that we see later in the film. It's like the movie is using these exaggerated visuals to show that the real horror here isn't just about physical transformation, it's also about the kind of internal ugliness society tolerates and even celebrates. The close up shots of Sue's body, especially her butt during the exercise video shoots, are intentionally over the top. It's more like a music video than an actual workout designed to play into the male gaze. And these moments feel deliberate, serving as a critique of how women's bodies are often objectified in media. The film makes it a point by showing this while these scenes are exaggerated for effect, they're actually grounded in reality, reflecting how women are often reduced to physical appearances for the male consumption. The body horror in this movie is just as gross as it's meant to be. The scene where Sue is literally birthed from Elizabeth's back caught me off guard, but in hindsight, it makes sense, especially with the movie poster showing Elizabeth's back being stitched up. Then there's the part where Sue repeatedly takes spinal fluid from Elizabeth's back, and it's not just uncomfortable, it's sore, it's pus filled, making it even more unsettling. And don't even get me started on the chicken wing scene where she pulls it out of her belly button. That is just disgusting. In one of the film's most relatable scenes, Elizabeth is getting ready for a date, but she's clearly caught in an identity crisis. Even though it's likely her date would appreciate her as she is, she's feeling the pressure from this perfect version of herself staring down from a billboard. She keeps switching between makeup styles, unsure of how much she should try to emulate that idealized image. It really captures the familiar tension of balancing who you are with who you feel you're expected to be. And I can relate to getting ready to go out and not being satisfied with the way I look, second guessing myself, looking in the mirror, and just not feeling satisfied. I'm sure that this is a common experience so many women can identify with. It's that struggle of trying to meet an ideal and never feeling fully confident. It's exhausting and all too real. The movie really captures that self doubt, and it's something a lot of us experience on a regular basis. Now, let's talk about the scene when Elizabeth injects Sue with the termination serum, and then she tries to resuscitate her because she realizes she needs Sue. She becomes conscious, and now Elizabeth and Sue are conscious at the same time. The idea that Elizabeth and Sue are essentially one being makes the moment where they both are conscious at the same time feel a bit confusing. It seems like the film is playing with the boundaries between their identities. When Sue fights back, it's almost like she's tapping into all the anger and the self loathing Elizabeth has been suppressing. This kind of rage that comes from hating yourself and the choices you've made. It's like Sue becomes this physical manifestation of Elizabeth's inner turmoil. And it makes sense that she could have this explosive strength as a result. It's an intense way of showing how self hatred can overpower you and lead you to destructive actions. Now, the last 30 minutes of the movie are absolutely wild and totally absurd. It starts with Sue at the New Year's Eve special falling apart, literally. Her teeth are falling out, her ear comes off, and she's freaking out. So she goes home. She injects herself with the activator, even though she's only supposed to use it once, and creates Monstro Alyssa Sue, a grotesque monster version of herself with body parts all over the place. So she goes back to the studio, gets on stage, and the audience is disgusted by her appearance. She even throws up a breast, which was honestly one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen in a movie. And then she starts multiplying, and her limbs detach, and blood is squirting everywhere. And I'm just sitting there like, what the F am I watching? Like, what has happened? The part that I actually liked, though, was the shot of her face blob struggling down the sidewalk before making it to her Hollywood star. Overall, I really enjoyed The Substance. While I'm not typically into body horror, this movie was surprisingly manageable for me. It was highly creative, and Demi Moore's performance was great. Yes, it was gross, but in a way that made it an enjoyable, memorable watch. The way the film mixed grotesque visuals with deep themes about beauty, aging, and self loathing made it a unique experience that kept me engaged, even through the most disturbing moments. It was definitely a wild ride, but one worth watching. So I was going back and forth on what to rate this movie, and it finally settled on a 3.5 Scream Queens out of 5. All right, folks, those are my thoughts on The Substance. What did you think of the movie? How many Scream Queens would you rate it? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more horror content.